and welcome tankers to another episode of World of Tanks with PR154. Today we're here on Mannerheim line with the Mauschen. It's a tier 9 German heavy tank, or super heavy tank, I think you could probably call it that. It's one of the heaviest tanks in the game. We have all the top modules on this one, including the powerful 12.8 centimeter main armament. We're running a turbocharger just because this thing is horrendously slow, particularly with the stock engine. I was very happy once I upgraded that. We're also running a Spall Liner, as this thing tends to be a bit of an artillery magnet, and for folks that are struggling to penetrate it, well, there's always that compulsion to switch to high explosive and wreck your day. We're also running the gun rammer just to try to minimise that long reload that you get with the large caliber guns in World of Tanks. So we've taking up position in the G8, G9 area, trying to make that cross. This is occasionally can be a little bit dangerous. As you can see, the AE Phase 1 is setting up to fight from the hull down position here. If you've spotted from light tanks operating in here, you can get shot in the side from tank destroyers that are operating out of that sort of C7, C8 area. So Phase 1 makes his move, goes a little too far up the hill and takes a shot. Unfortunately, he's playing a little bit more wisely from here on in, so he's going to be quite difficult to dig out. We're in a slightly vulnerable position here. You can see the. Sorry, I'll activate the free camera. You see the top hat on top of the turret is a very obvious weak spot on the Mauschen. The cheeks of the turret are also quite pennable as well, particularly for enemy tanks that want to load the gold. So at the moment, AE Phase 1 is pretty well controlling this engagement. It's all down to, well, okay, can he hit the top hat, or am I going to move in a way that's going to land me in trouble? We have some artillery support, so they're trying to take out that AE Phase 1, and once that AE Phase 1 is taken out, we're in a position that we can start moving around the map. We've bounced quite a few shots from the AE Phase 1 at this point in time. They haven't switched up to the gold, but they're certainly able to make a connection. In this case, they've been able to put one through our cupola. We've just suffered a lucky bounce from this ISU 152 that's operating from that sort of C7, C8 position that you have to be super careful of. So we're kind of boxed in here. We can't move forward with the AE Phase 1 occupying that hull down. We can't move back with the ISU 152. So quite eagly putting shells into my posterior. So we're really having to just wait it out until self-propelled guns can knock the AE Phase 1 out, as is the case. We're still not numerically superior on this flank. We have my tank, we have the Conqueror, we have a UDES 14.5, a tier 8 Swedish medium, and we have basically at least three enemy tanks downrange of us. So we need to correct that imbalance in numbers before we can really start to do anything more on this flank. Fortunately, our artillery is on the ball. As long as we're sort of playing up front, keeping enemies lit while not losing hit points, we can just progressively grind them down until we are in a position that we can actually do something. We've taken a few hits from that AE Phase 1, so we're on about sort of half measure of our hit points. Granted, that's still over 1,100 hit points on the Mauschen. It's got a very healthy bank of hit points, but unfortunately, you certainly don't want to go YOLOing in this situation just yet until enemy guns are taken out of the equation. So we'll just keep rocking and spotting and bouncing. We're already at over 3,500 bounced, and we're just being in a difficult to dislodge position. We've picked up over 2,000 of spotting damage so far, just from existing on the front line, existing and surviving on the front line, while others behind us are able to land those shots and chip away at the enemy team. So we're making our move. I've no issues. I've no issues going first in this case because this tank is slow, and you can be reasonably confident that an astute set of teammates will be able to catch up. IS-3A is attempting to make its escape, but not quite quickly enough for the Mauschen. We know that T-95 is around here somewhere, and it's hiding down in the corner. He's just caused a horrendous amount of damage to our UDES 14.5, which we don't anticipate his gun is going to be involved in this game much longer. But UDES is still going down fighting as the T-95 turns to face, and he's turning back. So UDES 14-5 has a chance. He puts another shot into the T-95. Shoulder check behind us, and that's it for the T-95. It's a horrible position to be in for a turretless tank destroyer, turretless tank in general, where you're just being hit from two angles. You never know where to push. It's also important in those situations not to quick dab of the Medkit key, and we can shut down the enemy ISU 152. Yeah, important to be when you're in those situations, and you do have support. Don't get greedy, particularly not with big guns like the T-95s. If he's pointing at you, let him point at you, and let your teammates sort of hammer them in the sides. If they're pointing at your teammate, well, don't leave them hanging. Don't let them die. Get in and exploit that opportunity. So we're into the end game now. The enemy has done its retreat back to behind the 9-0 lines. This could be a bit of a dangerous cross, but they're a little light on the tank destroyers at this part of the game. If you had a few more tank destroyers in the back line, this can be a very dangerous prospect, even with this sort of numerical advantage. There's a lot of positions there with good concealment, and well concealed tank destroyers and medium tanks can just absolutely punish you. We sort of found the light tank that's been spotting us on the way in, and a bit of a poorly auto aimed shot on my part, but nevertheless we've flushed out the T-49, and his impact on the battle will cease fairly promptly. So we'll leave that alone, and we'll focus on other enemy tanks cleaning up. SU-130 PM is the last alive. And do we make the shot? Do we make the killing shot? No, we don't. Just a little bit too slow on the reload and the aim there. But that's game, folks. So let's move over to the results page and see how we did. So definitely not our worst effort here. We've come away with the first ace tanker mastery level that I've had in the Mauschen so far, so happy with that. We've come away with the steel wall medal for just blocking a lot of damage from a lot of different enemies, with over 4,000 damage blocked. Surprisingly low on the damage front, actually. We've done less than our hit points, but still come away with ace mastery, which is really just down to playing this tank to its role as a line breaker. Just be there, bounce the damage. That's 4,000 damage that's bounced fecklessly off my armor that would have potentially otherwise been directed into my teammates. Playing the forward position has also meant we've been able to pick up a lot of spotting damage and just really help guide those friendly shells in, and of course knocking out 4 enemy tanks on the way through has been quite beneficial. props to our friendly artillery players for just recognising that they needed to knock that AE Phase 1 out fairly early. Otherwise, I was literally stuck where I was. Couldn't move forward because of outnumbered by enemy tanks in front. Couldn't move back because I would have had an ISU 152 shooting my ass off at 750 hit points per shot. So. Very well played by the friendly SU 14-2, who was really substantially responsible for saving my arse. So if you'd like to see your replays featured on World of Tanks with PR154, please contact us over Discord. I'll put the link in the description below. In the meantime, take care out there.